This hearing is called to order. I want to start out by thanking all of our witnesses for taking the time and traveling here and preparing some thoughtful testimony. I also want to offer my condolences to all of those who knew Boris Nemtsov, considered him a friend and comrade. A real tragedy what happened a day, I think, after we noticed this hearing. It certainly was not one of the things I wanted to talk about, certainly nothing we contemplated. The purpose of this hearing is really to lay out a reality. It's to tell a story. And the story that needs to be told is what has become of Russia since Vladimir Putin has come to power. I'm not going to tell the story. These gentlemen are going to be telling the story. But unless we understand the reality, unless we're willing to face the reality, unless we're willing to grapple with the reality, Vladimir Putin will continue his aggression, and that will destabilize not only Eastern Europe, it will destabilize the entire efforts of all those who want to seek peace and prosperity in the world. What we have done is we do have a couple photographs that I want to highlight, and starting to my right is a picture of Boris Nemtsov, a very courageous man that I had the privilege of meeting in my office. A man who brought to my office a longer list of people that needed to be added to the Magnitsky list. Unfortunately, the next picture, right behind Senator Gardner, is a picture of Boris Nemtsov having been assassinated, with the Kremlin in the background. Now, that would be somewhat similar to, an analogy would be an assassination carried out on Constitution Avenue with the Capitol in the background. In my written opening statement, which I would ask to be entered in the record, we've laid out a timeline that really starts with the fall of the Berlin Wall and then traces through the history. But in particular, I want people to pay attention to the history following the ascension of Mr. Putin to power in Russia. And I think probably the most powerful part of that timeline are the 29 assassinations of political figures. 29 assassinations and murders that have never been adequately solved. And I think people need to really contemplate that. Next picture, and we don't have the quote on there. Do we have the quote somewhere? Talking about Russian troops. This picture, there was a quote talking about the number of Russian troops. This is this is actually a Ukrainian rebel talking about the number of Russian troops that he was thankful for had entered eastern Ukraine. Next picture is one of tragedy, as Malaysian flight number MH17 was shot down out of the sky on July 17th of 2014. 298 innocent civilians were murdered. This shows a picture of that. And then we have scenes of the devastation in eastern Ukraine. So that shows a little pictorial history of the results of Vladimir Putin's aggression. And that's the story that needs to be told. That's the reality that needs to be faced. So again, I want to thank the witnesses, and I turn it over to Senator Shaheen for her opening comments.